Very good morning, students. Saira, welcome back to our science period. Children, you know very well now our 16th chapter is going on, that is heredity and variation. Okay, now I am going to continue this chapter. Are you ready, children? Can you see now which one is going on? Genetic disorder. What is meant by genetic disorder? And there are four types of genetic disorders, that is chromosomal disorders, monogenic disorders, polygenic disorders, and mitochondrial disorders. So already we discussed about what is meant by chromosomal disorder, isn't it? Down syndrome. Yes, next one is what? Turner syndrome and Klinefelter syndrome. Next one is now which one is going on? Monogenic disorders. Introduction already I told. Isn't it, children? I gave that introduction, and here in your textbook there are two examples of monogenic disorders. First one is albinism and second one is sickle cell anemia. That we will see one by one. Okay, and next session I will teach you about what is meant by polygenic disorders and mitochondrial disorders. Are you ready, children? Yes, first one is what? Albinism. Okay, it is a monogenic disorder. See here what are the symptoms, and next one is what is the remedy for these diseases we will discuss now. Albinism is a genetic disorder in which what are the symptoms? See here, children, in which our eyes, skin and hair do not have original color. Okay, as a result of the absence of brown pigment, that is called melanin. So this albinism affected people, their body don't have, yes, secrete this melanin, brown pigment. Okay, they don't have this pigment. That pigment name is what? Melanin. Brown pigment is absent in that person. So because of that, that eyes, skin and hair do not have color. Okay, children, because that absence of brown pigment, that is called what? Melanin. In this disease, the body is unable to generate melanin. Okay, normally we have a capacity to generate this melanin, but those who have affected by this albinism, they can't generate normally this brown pigment in their body. Understood, children? See here. Yes, that hence the skin becomes pale, hair is white and eyes are usually pink color. Okay, due to the absence of melanin pigment. So normally you know that is the skin color, hair color and eyes color, normally that is different color, isn't it? But those who have affected by this albinism, they have the skin becomes pale, hair is white and eyes are pink color. Understood, children? Why? What is the reason? Because absence of melanin pigment in their body. And in red, see here that eyes are usually pink due to the absence of melanin pigment in the retina and sclera. Retina, that is the back side, the thin layer of the eye. Okay, that is sclera means, see here in your eye, children, that white color part, that is called what? Sclera. Okay, so due to the absence of this melanin pigment, they are the retina and sclera that look like pink color. Yes, see here, this is, see here, children, this is the sclera. Okay, and here it is a pink color, and see this hair. Yes, it is a pale color, isn't it? Yes, so these are the symptoms of albinism. So I hope you understood what is the albinism and what are the symptoms. Shall we go to next now? Next one is sickle cell anemia. Okay. See here, sickle cell anemia. These diseases or disorders can be caused even by even a slight change in a molecular structure of proteins and DNA. Okay, these diseases can be caused by a slight changes, very minute changes. Where that minute changes are there? See here, molecular structure of proteins and DNA. You know very well where is DNA, isn't it? See here. Regular hemoglobin has glutamic acid. So in our blood contains what? Hemoglobin. That regular hemoglobin has glutamic acid. This is one of the amino acid. Okay, as the sixth amino acid. So in our blood contains what? Hemoglobin. That hemoglobin structure, sixth one is which amino acid is there? Glutamic acid. Okay, in its molecular structure, which if replaced by valine. So those who are affected by sickle cell anemia, instead of this here, their hemoglobin structure, that instead of that sixth amino acid is what? Glutamic acid. Instead of that glutamic acid, they are having valine. It is another amino acid. Leads to a change in the shape structure of the hemoglobin molecule. Understood now? So that sickle cell anemia affected person, they have, that is valine amino acid instead of glutamic acid in their hemoglobin structure. Understood now? Because of these changes, they will affect by sickle cell anemia. What will happen? See here, children. Yes, this result in the erythrocytes are red blood cells. See here, erythrocytes are red plus corpuscles. Okay, that means RBC. This is one kind of cell. It is present in our blood. Okay, so modifying its shape from the usual biconcave to sickle shape. See here, children. So that time because of that valine amino acid, what will happen? This result in the erythrocytes or RBC cells modifying its shape from the usually that shape of that RBC cells, that is biconcave. Okay, but that is converted into sickle shape. Sickle shape means like this shape. Okay, see here what is meant by red blood cells. I will tell you here. Yes, red blood cells means it is a type of blood cell that is made in the bone marrow and found in the blood. Okay, it is one kind of the blood cells where it is present in the blood. Red blood cells may contain a protein called hemoglobin. Okay, red blood cells contain one of the important protein. That protein is called what? Hemoglobin, which carries oxygen from the lungs to all parts of the body. Okay, children, that means it will absorb that oxygen. So if that hemoglobin level is low, that is affecting that oxygen absorbing level. Understood now? That it carries oxygen. See here, children, so red blood cells contain a protein called hemoglobin. That's why the red blood cells and the blood, that is red in color because of this hemoglobin. Understood, children? It is a red color. So that is what is the function of this hemoglobin, which carries oxygen from the lungs to all parts of the body. So what I hope you understood now what is meant by red blood cells. Okay, and why our blood is in red color? Because that hemoglobin. What is the function of this hemoglobin? Which carries oxygen from the lungs to all parts of the body. Okay, children. Yes, say here. Yes, so that is this condition. This condition is known as sickle cell anemia. Which condition? Say here, this result in the erythrocytes or red blood cells modifying its shape from biconcave to sickle shape. That's why this condition is called what? Sickle cell anemia. Okay, in individuals suffering from sickle cell anemia, the oxygen carrying capacity of hemoglobin is very low. Okay, so in individuals suffering from this sickle cell anemia, that time what will happen? The oxygen carrying capacity of hemoglobin. As I told that hemoglobin is one of the important protein in RBC cells, red blood cells. So what is the function of this one? It carries that oxygen, isn't it, children? So that is those who have affected by this sickle cell anemia, they have the oxygen carrying capacity of hemoglobin is very low. Okay, see here next one. Yes, this slide I have shown here. This is the normal red blood cells. The structure, it is a biconcave structure. Okay, and instead of this structure, a sickle cell anemia person, anemic person, they have sickle shaped red blood cells. See here. So normally, see here, children, this is a blood vessels. Okay, here what is here? Normally biconcave. Yes, normal red blood cells. But instead of this shape, yes, here if it is sickle shape is there, it will not, that circulation, it will not happen properly. Okay, it will totally obstruct this circulation. Understood, children? See here, you have to observe here, sickle shape red blood cell is there. Okay, so because of this shape, that blood circulation will not happen properly. Shall we go to next one now? This condition also causes clumping, often leading to destruction of erythrocytes, that means red blood cells. This can result in obstruction of the blood vessels, as I told, isn't it? So because instead of this shape, if it is like this shape, yes, obviously that destruction, that means obstruction will be there, isn't it, children? So that is obstacles, like obstacles. This can result in obstruction of the blood vessels, thus damaging the circulatory system. Total circulatory system will be yes affected. Circulatory system, brain, lungs, kidneys, and so on. So children, I hope you understood what is meant by sickle cell anemia disease. Yes, shall I go to next now? Sickle cell anemia is a hereditary disease caused by the changes in genes during conception. It is often seen that offspring of parents affected by sickle cell anemia or carriers of the disorder are likely to get the diseases. Okay, if parents are having, you would definitely that children also will get this disease because it is a genetic disorder. Say here, for this reason, marriages between people who are carriers or having the illness are to be avoided. Okay, so some symptoms I have given here. Say here, pain in joints. That means the symptoms of sickle cell anemia: pain in joints, frequent cold and cough, swelling of hand and legs, severe general body aches. Okay, constant low grade fever. Next one is what? Excursion, pale face, low hemoglobin content, and so on. So these are the symptoms of sickle cell anemia. Okay, shall we go to next one now? Say here children, some remedies. Okay, this disease is transmitted through reproduction. Okay, so those who have affected by this sickle cell anemia, so from that person only it will come to that next generation. So this disease is transmitted through reproduction. Hence, the best way to treat it is to avoid marriage with another carrier or sufferer. Okay, both the bride and groom are expected to take a blood test prior to marriage so as to avoid the spread of sickle cell anemia. That's why nowadays it is a trend, that means though before marriage everyone should take that blood test. Okay, so here children, next one is, so why we should to take that blood test? Because this one will transmit through the reproduction. So to avoid the spread of this sickle cell anemia, that before marriage everyone should take blood test. Okay, through the blood test it will come to know that is those who will have affected by this sickle cell anemia. Okay children, next one is say here, another remedy or treatment is that sufferer or the carrier of this disease should take a tablet of folic acid. So the doctor will prescribe which one? Folic acid tablet on the daily basis. Understood now children? Yes. So now see, there are two types of persons affected by sickle cell anemia. One is AS, that is sickle cell anemia carrier, and another one is what? Sufferer from sickle cell anemia. Okay, so children, now we discussed about what is meant by yes albinism and why it is happening. Okay, because the brown color pigment, that is melanin, is absent in their body. That's why that eyes color, face color, hair color, that all different color is there. Because yes, due to the absence of melanin, brown pigment. Next one is what? Sickle cell anemia. Sickle cell anemia, that is why it's happening. Yes, that hemoglobin structure slightly changes in hemoglobin structure. That means sixth acid, the hemoglobin molecular structure, sixth acid is what? Amino acid, glutamic acid, it should be there. But instead of that glutamic acid, that valine is there. It is replaced by which amino acid? Valine. So because of that reason, that normally the red blood cells are in which shape? By concave. So instead of that reason, that red blood cells have which shape children? Sickle shape. Okay, that's why that disease is called what? Sickle cell anemia. Okay, and the next one is, if that hemoglobin, that red blood cells are in sickle shape, it will totally obstruct our, it will totally damage our circulatory system. Understood, children? So what are the symptoms and what are the remedies for this disease? These all things today we discussed. Yes, so remaining two type of genetic disorders that I will teach you on next session. Okay, children, I hope you understood this session. Yes, thank you, children. Sai Ram.